I thought I was being careful. I really did. I never accepted random friend requests, never posted my exact location, and I kept my Instagram private. But none of that mattered when someone decides they want to find you. It started with a DM from someone named S. Sunset. Joss Dreamer, Ja89. The profile picture was some generic beach sunset photo. The account had maybe 15 followers and followed about 200 people. The message was simple. Hey, I think we went to the same high school, Jefferson High, class of 2015. I did go to Jefferson High, graduated in 2015, so I clicked on the profile to see if I recognized them. There were only 3 posts, all landscape photos, no people. The bio said, just vibing, nothing specific. I messaged back asking who they were. They replied with, sorry, I like to keep things private online, but I definitely remember you from Ms. Chen's English class. I had Ms. Chen for English junior year, so I thought maybe this person was just shy or paranoid about their digital footprint. We talked a bit more. They seemed to know little details about our high school, the weird gym teacher who wore the same sweatpants every day, the time someone set off fireworks in the parking lot senior year. Small things that felt real. After a few days of casual chatting, they asked if I wanted to meet up for coffee. They said they were back in town visiting family and it would be nice to catch up. I suggested a Starbucks near the mall. Public, busy, safe. They agreed immediately. The day of the meetup, I got there early and grabbed a table near the window. I texted them that I was there wearing a blue jacket. They said they were parking and would be in soon. 10 minutes passed, then 20. I sent another text asking if they were close. No response. I tried calling the number they'd given me when we moved from Instagram to regular texting. It rang once and went to a generic voicemail. I sat there for another 15 minutes before deciding to leave. As I walked to my car, I noticed a white sedan parked a few spots down from mine. Someone was sitting in the driver's seat, facing forward, not moving. I couldn't see their face clearly, but something about it felt wrong. I got in my car quickly and locked the doors. As I pulled out of the parking spot, the white sedan's headlights turned on. I drove toward the exit and the sedan followed. I told myself I was being paranoid, that maybe they were just leaving at the same time, but when I turned left onto the main road, they turned left. When I switched lanes, they switched lanes. My heart started pounding. I didn't want to drive straight home, so I took a random right turn into a residential neighborhood. The sedan followed. I made another turn, and another, winding through streets I didn't know. They stayed behind me the whole time. Finally, I pulled into a 7-Eleven parking lot that had a few other cars. I parked under a light and waited. The sedan drove past slowly, then circled the block and parked across the street facing me. I called the police. I explained everything, the Instagram account, the no-show meetup, the car following me. The dispatcher told me to stay where I was and keep my doors locked. Within maybe 10 minutes, a patrol car pulled into the lot. The white sedan drove off immediately. The officer took my information, and the license plate number I'd managed to write down. He told me he'd file a report, but without any direct threat or contact, there wasn't much they could do yet. He followed me home to make sure I got there safely. I didn't see the white sedan again that night. The next morning I checked Instagram. The Sunset Dreamer 89 account was gone, completely deleted. I went through my text messages with them and tried calling the number again. Disconnected. I searched the license plate online but couldn't find anything useful. For about a week, nothing happened. I started to relax a little, thinking maybe it was just some creep who got scared off when the police showed up. Then I got a Facebook message from an account with no profile picture and the name, Friend from Jefferson. The message said, "You look scared at the 7-Eleven." I reported and blocked the account immediately. I made all my social media accounts private, changed my profile pictures to anything that wasn't my face, and stopped posting anything about where I was or what I was doing. I told my close friends what happened and asked them not to tag me in anything. A few days later, I was at the gym after work. I go to the same gym at the same time most weekdays, part of my routine. I was on the treadmill when I noticed someone standing near the weight racks, not working out, just standing there, looking in my direction. It was hard to tell from that distance, but I felt like they were staring at me. I got off the treadmill, grabbed my stuff, and left. As I walked to my car, I looked back and saw the same person walking out of the gym behind me. I didn't go to that gym again. I switched to a different one across town and changed my schedule completely. I also started driving different routes home from work, never the same way twice in a row. I felt paranoid and exhausted, constantly looking over my shoulder. About 2 weeks after the gym incident, I found a note on my car windshield. I was parked in the garage at my apartment building, a secure garage that required a key fob to enter. The note was handwritten on plain white paper. It said, "I just want to talk. You won't give me a chance." I took the note straight to the police. They took it as evidence and increased patrols around my building, but again, without knowing who was doing this, their hands were tied. I asked my landlord about the security cameras in the garage. He checked the footage and found a clip of someone in a dark hoodie and face mask slipping in behind another car when the gate opened. You couldn't see anything identifying. I started staying at my sister's place some nights just to feel less predictable. I thought about moving, but my lease wasn't up for another 7 months, and I couldn't afford to break it. Every noise made me jump. Every car that drove too slowly past my building made my stomach drop. Then the messages started coming from different numbers, short texts, never threatening directly, but always unsettling. "Saw you at Target yesterday, you look tired. New gym seems nice. Your sister has a cute dog." That last one made my blood run cold because I'd never posted anything about staying with my sister. Whoever this was had been watching me closely, following me to multiple locations. I changed my phone number. I filed for a restraining order, but you need to know who you're restraining. The police couldn't identify anyone. I felt completely helpless. The detective assigned to my case seemed sympathetic, but told me, unless this person made a direct threat or tried to physically harm me, there was only so much they could do. 3 months went by. The messages stopped. No more notes. No more sightings of anyone watching me. I started to think maybe they'd gotten bored or moved on to someone else. I hated that thought, that they might be doing this to another person now, but I also felt relieved. I still don't know who it was. I don't know if it was someone I actually went to high school with, or if they just did research and learned enough to sound convincing. I don't know what they wanted from me or what would have happened if I'd gotten into that white sedan. And I don't know if they're really gone or if they're just waiting.
I used to think cryptocurrency was confusing, so I stayed away from it. No Bitcoin, no Ethereum, nothing. But last year my coworker Dave kept talking about how much money he was making trading NFTs. He showed me his portfolio, and I'm talking life-changing amounts of money. He said it wasn't hard, you just had to know where to look and who to follow. Dave sent me a link to a Discord server where people shared tips about upcoming NFT drops and crypto projects. The server had maybe 8,000 members, lots of active discussion, people posting screenshots of their gains. It seemed legitimate. I lurked for a few weeks, just reading, trying to understand how everything worked. There was one person in the server who went by the username CryptoSage. They had a special role badge that marked them as a trusted advisor. They posted daily analysis, called out good projects before they pumped, and people in the chat were always thanking them for the tips. I watched them be right about several predictions. When they said a certain NFT collection would sell out in minutes, it did. When they said a coin would double in a week, it happened. After watching for about a month, I decided to reach out to CryptoSage directly. I sent them a DM explaining I was new and asking if they had any advice for someone just starting out. They responded within an hour, super friendly and helpful. They said the best way to make real money was to get in early on projects before they were announced to the whole server. They offered to give me early access to their premium calls for a small fee. The fee was 0.5 Ethereum, which at the time was around $900. It seemed steep, but people in the server vouched for CryptoSage constantly. I saw testimonials from users claiming they'd made tens of thousands following the premium calls. I figured if I could make even a fraction of that, it would be worth it. I sent the payment. CryptoSage added me to a private channel with about 40 other people. The first call they gave was for an NFT project that was minting in 2 days. They posted the contract address, the mint price, and instructions on how to get whitelisted early. I followed the steps exactly. I connected my crypto wallet to the website they linked, filled out the whitelist form, and waited. The day of the mint, I was ready. I had my wallet loaded with the right amount of Ethereum, but when I went to the website, it looked different. The design was slightly off, like someone had tried to copy the original but made small mistakes. I didn't think much of it at first. I clicked the mint button and approved the transaction. My wallet emptied. Not just the amount for the NFT, everything. Every coin, every token, everything I had in that wallet, gone in seconds. I stared at my screen in complete shock. I checked the transaction on the blockchain and saw that I'd approved a contract that gave full access to my entire wallet. The website was a fake, a phishing site designed to look like the real NFT project. I immediately messaged CryptoSage in a panic. No response. I posted in the premium channel asking if anyone else had the same problem. The channel disappeared. I went back to the main Discord server to report what happened, but I couldn't find CryptoSage's profile anymore. They were gone. I searched through my DMs and realized our entire conversation history had been deleted. I lost $4,700. That was everything I'd saved up over 6 months, plus the initial fee I paid to join the premium group. I filed a report with the Discord server admins, but they said CryptoSage had been an active trusted member for over a year, and they had no reason to suspect them. They banned the account after my report, but the damage was done. I found a Reddit thread a few days later where other people shared almost identical stories. Different Discord servers, different usernames, but the same method. Someone builds credibility over months, earns trust, offers premium access, then sends people to phishing sites and vanishes. One person said they lost over $30,000. Another said they lost their entire retirement savings. The worst part is I have no idea who they really were. Could have been one person, could have been a whole operation, could have been someone in my own city or halfway across the world. The wallet address where my funds went was just a string of numbers and letters untraceable in any meaningful way. I reported it to the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, but I never heard back. Crypto transactions are irreversible. Once it's gone, it's gone. I closed all my crypto accounts, deleted Discord, and tried to move on. But every time I see someone online talking about easy money in crypto, I feel sick to my stomach.
My grandmother died when I was 16. We were close, so it hit me hard. She'd always been into genealogy, spent years building out our family tree, collecting old photos, documenting stories from relatives. After she passed, my mom gave me a box of her research, old documents, photos, handwritten notes about family members going back to the 1800s. I didn't look through it right away. It sat in my closet for almost 2 years. But during college, I took a history class that got me interested in genealogy. I remembered my grandmother's box and pulled it out. Inside were dozens of old black and white photos, birth certificates, marriage licenses, and pages of notes in her handwriting. One photo caught my attention. It was a portrait of a woman from what looked like the 1920s based on her clothing and the photo quality. On the back, my grandmother had written, "Unknown woman, found in attic, 1987. That was it. No name, no date, no relation. Just unknown. I thought it was strange that my grandmother, who documented everything, couldn't identify this person. I decided to try to figure it out myself. I scanned the photo and posted it to a genealogy forum asking if anyone recognized the woman or could help identify when and where the photo might have been taken. I included the note from my grandmother and explained I was trying to complete her research. A few people commented with guesses about the era and the type of photo paper used, but no one could identify the woman. Then I got a private message from someone with the username HistoryBuff1920. They said the woman in the photo looked familiar and asked if I had any other information, maybe where my grandmother found it or what state my family was from. I replied with some basic details, said my grandmother found it in her attic in Pennsylvania, and that our family had lived in that area for generations. HistoryBuff1920 responded saying they were researching families from that same region and might be able to help. They asked if I could send high-resolution scans of any other photos or documents from the box. I scanned about 20 items, old photos, a few birth certificates, a marriage license from 1903, and sent them over. HistoryBuff1920 thanked me and said they'd look into it. A week went by with no updates. I sent a follow-up message asking if they'd found anything. No response. Then I started getting weird emails. The first one had no text, just an attachment. I opened it, and it was one of the photos I'd scanned, but zoomed in on a specific face in a group shot. The face was circled in red. No explanation, no message, just the circled face. I didn't recognize the email address, and it wasn't from the Genealogy forum. I replied asking who this was and what they wanted. No response. A few days later, another email. This time it was a scan of a birth certificate I'd sent to History Buff 1920, but someone had digitally altered it. They'd changed the name on the certificate to my name and changed the birth year to 1898. It was obviously fake, but it was unsettling. I went back to the Genealogy forum to confront History Buff 1920, but their account was deleted. I reported the emails to the forum moderators and to my email provider, but there wasn't much they could do. I changed my email password and set up two-factor authentication. The emails kept coming. Always photos or documents I'd shared, always altered in strange ways. One showed a grave with my name on it. Another was an old photo of a funeral with my face badly photoshopped onto one of the mourners. It felt like someone was trying to scare me, but I didn't understand why. I stopped posting on genealogy forums entirely. I made all my social media accounts private and removed any personal information from my profiles. For a few months, the emails stopped. I thought whoever it was had gotten bored. Then I got a package in the mail. No return address, just my name and address handwritten on a padded envelope. Inside was a photo print, the original unknown woman from my grandmother's box. But this print was old, not a new copy. It was the actual photo, and on the back, in handwriting that wasn't my grandmother's, it said, "She's been looking for you." I have no idea how someone got the original photo. It should have been in the box in my closet. I went home and checked. The box was still there, but the photo was gone. Someone had been in my apartment. I filed a police report, changed my locks, and installed a security camera. I never found out who History Buff 1920 was or why they targeted me. The emails eventually stopped, and I never received another package. But I still have that photo print. I don't know what to do with it, and I still don't know who the woman in the picture is.
I'm a freelance graphic designer, so I'm always looking for new clients. Most of my work comes from referrals or cold outreach, but I also have profiles on sites like Upwork and Fiverr. Last summer, I got a message through Upwork from someone who said they needed a logo designed for their new business. The client's name was listed as M. Brennan. Their profile was new, no reviews, no previous jobs, but that's not unusual. Plenty of people create accounts just to hire for one specific project. They said they were starting a consulting firm and needed a clean, professional logo. Standard request. We agreed on a price, $800 for the full logo package with revisions. M. Brennan sent over a creative brief. It was detailed, specific brand colors, preferred styles, examples of logos they liked. Everything seemed normal. We moved our conversation off Upwork to email so I could send larger files. Their email address was Justin Brennan, followed by a string of numbers at a generic email provider. I sent over the first round of concepts, 3 different logo directions based on their brief. They responded quickly, said they liked elements from all 3, and asked if I could combine certain aspects. Again, totally normal client feedback. I made the revisions and sent version 2. This is where things got strange. M. Brennan replied saying the logos were great, but they wanted to see them mocked up on business cards and letterhead before making a final decision. They asked for my home address so they could send me their preferred paper samples to use in the mock-ups. I'd never had a client ask for that before, but I thought maybe they were just particular about print quality. I gave them my P.O. box address instead of my home. They said that wouldn't work because the samples were being shipped via a courier that required a physical street address. I should have stopped there, but the project was almost done and I wanted to get paid, so I gave them my address. A few days later, a package arrived. It was a large padded envelope with no return address. Inside were several sheets of high-quality paper stock in different colors and textures. There was also a handwritten note that said, "Thank you for your patience. Please use these for the mock-ups." I created the mock-ups using the paper samples as backgrounds in Photoshop and sent them over. Monsieur Brennan loved them. They approved the final logo and said they'd send payment within 24 hours. I sent the invoice and waited. The payment never came. I followed up after 2 days. No response. I sent another email. Nothing. After a week of silence, I checked their Upwork profile. It had been deleted. I tried calling the phone number they'd provided during our initial conversation. Disconnected. I was frustrated but figured I'd been scammed. It happens in freelance work sometimes. You spend time on a project and the client ghosts without paying. I wrote it off as a loss and moved on. But then things got worse. About a week after the client disappeared, I started getting calls from my bank. Someone had tried to open a credit card in my name using my address and personal information. The application was flagged because it didn't match some security questions, but it was a close call. I froze my credit immediately and filed an identity theft report. Then I got a notification from the post office. Someone had submitted a change of address form, trying to forward my mail to a different location. I went to the post office in person and canceled it, but it scared me. Someone had my full name, my address, and enough information to attempt identity fraud. I started thinking about the package M. Brennan sent. I pulled it out of my recycling and looked at it more carefully. The paper samples looked real enough, but the note felt off. The handwriting was too neat, almost like it had been practiced. And why would a consulting firm need a logo designer's home address to send paper samples? They could have just described the paper types in an email or sent digital versions. I realized I'd been targeted. The whole job was fake. They never needed a logo. They just needed my personal information, and I gave it to them willingly. I reported everything to the FTC and local police, but there wasn't much they could do without knowing who M. Brennan really was. I locked down all my accounts, changed passwords, set up fraud alerts, and started monitoring my credit obsessively. For months I was terrified every time my phone rang or I got mail. I kept expecting to find out someone had taken out loans in my name or committed crimes using my identity. Nothing major happened, thankfully. A few more failed credit applications that got blocked, but nothing went through. Either they moved on to easier targets or the security measures I put in place worked. I still don't know. I don't take client work through freelance platforms anymore. I only work with people who come through trusted referrals, and I never ever give out my home address for any reason related to work.